Hello, everyone. Jason Hagholm here, and doing a little something different as it's the big spectacle known as WrestleMania weekend. This weekend, it starts tomorrow with a boatload of shows going on down this weekend in Dallas, Texas, and the surrounding Texas area. So I thought, bring on some of the more well-known people from the old wrestling community on YouTube days in Cdude9590, known as Chase, and as well the one, the only Truthslayer. And guys, how excited are you first and foremost for this weekend? I'll start with you, Chase.
Not very, because if I was actually excited, I would be going to Dallas. I don't know. It's hard. Like, if WWE sucks, it's hard for me to actually feel motivated to go there, even though I could totally go there and go to everything else. And I almost did that in New Orleans 4 years ago, but I don't. It's just like when you got the brand leader beating the drum of most stupendous WrestleMania ever, and you look at the card, and it's absolutely pathetic, and you're just like, okay. I mean, all those indie shows are exciting though. Like, I don't know about any show in particular. I'm probably the most interested to see how Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor goes, just to see how that whole passing the baton goes between Delirious and Tony Khan. But like in a single match, probably the one I'm most interested to see out of any match on any show is Speedball Mike Bailey versus Bandito on the WrestleCon Super Show. I think that will shock a lot of people.
Yeah, Speedball also has another match on one of the Impact shows that I can't remember the opponent, but it's one I'm also interested to see how that goes. But yeah, Josh, I'll hand the same question over to you. What are you excited for the most about this weekend that's about to kick off?
Like, probably the Super Show, the WrestleCon Super Show, is probably the one. Oddly enough, I'm really excited for the Impact show, which sounds like craziness, but as long as the booking doesn't get in the way of that show should be really good. The Supercard of Honor show, just to see how it all plays out. I'm wondering if we get one more match added before it goes, like tomorrow. But yeah, WrestleMania, I could care less. Like, I can't even see, if you were a WWE fan, how you could be really excited for this show, to be honest, other than, I guess, night 2. I guess the Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Other than that, there's not much on this show, and I don't think, from what I've seen, there's really not like anything. Well, I guess the Cody thing. I guess people will be talking about the Cody thing, but yeah, but that's it. Like the indie stuff looks really good. Especially, I've said this before. I will say this again. The Fight Fest or whatever it is that Fight's putting on, that's like a loaded thing. That's a loaded package that you should just get. There's so much stuff on that package that's crazy. But
yeah, the collective, which GCW puts out, and you can get on Fight for like every show. It's a little pricey, but I think it's worth your money for what you get. And the fact that, guys, this is like a traditional Mania weekend. There were some collective GCW shows last year out in Tampa, but it's nice to see like a Mania weekend with many events going on that we haven't had this since like 2019 in New York.
Yeah, I agree. It's the only thing I would say is like, who was it that I was just looking, and I was like, he's on a lot of shows, but he's not on a lot of like high profile shows like I would have thought would have been O'Brien Keith out of Texas. I would have thought he would have been on more high profile shows, and he's not. But yeah, it's good to see like all of that. The center of the wrestling universe, as always, WrestleMania weekend. So many eyes. I think this year will still be a little weird because you're not getting a lot of the international folks yet. I think next year will probably be insano, especially with it being in LA, and you'll probably have, I would imagine, more Japanese promotions probably make a venture over, and then also probably AAA and probably CMLL in some form, even if it's just their wrestlers coming up. So yeah,
CMLL doing something smart. How dare you accuse them of that, Josh?
Hey, you never know. The daughter might magically take back over, and it might get good again. Maybe.
Well,
I doubt
hopefully it does. I mean, that promotion has so much history, and as Josh, you did say, like it's a WrestleMania in California next year, which not too far from the border. So hopefully they can get some shows going on for them. And AAA is obviously doing a show this weekend as well, not too far from the border as well in Texas. But and that show looks fun as well. But as you guys ran over your shows you're looking forward to, I think the one we're all interested to see is this Ring of Honor show. And as Chase mentioned, like there's a transition in booking, but I think we're all interested to see just how it's laid out, how it looks production wise, and setting up the vision for Ring of Honor now under Tony Khan.
I mean, it's no secret that like whenever they went from HDNet to Sinclair, the production took a nosedive. Like they cheaped out, and they never gave ROH the resources it needed to actually do something with. ROH could have been an AEW spot. They had all those guys. They just did nothing with it. But it's like, how much money was Tony Khan going to invest in this thing? Like, it's just, we don't know. Like, will it be an improvement? Well, if Delirious doesn't have the book anymore, it immediately has to be, you would think. But, yeah, I was never a fan of Delirious booking, by the way, for people that don't know. But that's my thing. Maybe not yours. But you're just like wondering, okay, they're in a building that AEW drew 6,000 people in, but this ROH show only has 16,669, which is a lot better than it was before they announced FTR versus Briscoes, where they only had like 400 tickets out, and then they announced FTR and Briscoes. Tickets finally started moving. It's just like, they're still on traditional pay-per-view too, right? So they got to hit those time cues. Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah. Plus, I know the Briscoes are on the show, and they're also wrestling on the Impact show.
Right.
Like that starts at 10, so you got to get them out of there.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's
I figure the Briscoes probably have the first match on the Impact show, and then they hurry on over, because maybe, or they have the first match on the, I don't know. We'll see how that all works out. So, but no, I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting as well. And, I guess I'll let you finish your point there, Josh, before we kind of run over the card, because this is a very interesting card, especially even following up, coming off Dynamite tonight.
Yeah, it's like a weird, like, it's a card you probably, like, makes sense in its own weird way. Let me find the card. I gotta find the card now.
I know it off the top of my head.
Chase, right, run it down forever.
Run it down.
Okay, I'll go top to bottom. Your main eventing is probably Bandito versus Gresham to unify those two belts. FTR versus the Briscoes. Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Martinez for the interim women's championship, because Deonna Purrazzo is unavailable because of Impact running the same night, which is probably why Tony Khan's really unhappy about running this show. You got Josh Woods versus Wheeler Yuta for the Pure Championship. Jay Lethal versus Lee Moriarty, which if they get time should be pretty good.
Swerve versus Alex Zane.
Swerve versus Alex Zane. Is that the last one? Is there another one?
Yeah.
No, that's it.
There is other performers, but they are not officially booked in matches, like Joe Hendry and Ninja Mac making his Ring of Honor debut.
Is he still there? Because he said that he hasn't heard anything.
He is currently advertised for the show.
Nice. Right.
Well, that was before Tony Khan bought it.
So we'll see.
Hey, you gotta remember they're gonna try to book Scarlett and Killer Cross, which was not a good fit for Ring of Honor at all.
No. But
they haven't heard anything since he bought the company, which I don't know. It's like, I don't know. We're gonna see. I'm really more interested to see what happens more than the actual matches, even though I'm sure they'll be really good, especially FTR Briscoes.
I think every match on there looks really good. The women's match probably being the one that's the weakest. I don't think it's like a horrible match or anything. I still think it should be good. And everything else has the possibility of being like great to like really good to great. So it should be something to see for sure.
Well, the main event, obviously, with Bandino versus Gresham, like whoever wins this obviously sticks around. But do you see as well Bandito sticking around? Like, what are you guys envisioning the vision now for Tony Khan's Ring of Honor now that we know that he's going to be in control of this pretty much starting after Friday night?
I think I would not be shocked if Gresham wins and then Regal comes out. I think that is a very big possibility of something that could happen. Especially since we know, I would imagine Wheeler Yuta, they even talked about it on Dynamite tonight. I think is probably going to win the Pure Championship. So that'll be. There's a part of me that thinks that's going to be part of this. Is that kind of Regal's group is going to have a lot of those titles eventually, and that'll be part of like the storyline with Ring of Honor, kind of going forward.
I mean, we know they're not going to be on Sinclair. Like, we don't know if they have a distribution deal yet. Hopefully it's not with Warner Media, because if it's with Warner Media, that means no Briscoes, and I can't imagine a Ring of Honor without the Briscoes. It's never happened. Like, they're the constants, right? They've never run without them. Yeah, I just hope that he's not as hands-on as he's saying he's going to be, because I don't know how this guy functions with the amount of stuff he does.
Yes,
other than probably cocaine.
Yes, probably.
Yes.
But I mean, you have Christopher Daniels there. I would think that you could hand it over to Christopher Daniels, even if you don't officially hand it over to Christopher Daniels. Like a lot of this is what I want done. Go do it, and let Christopher Daniels kind of take care of it. So, as far as that, I would expect that would be that part of it. So.
Well, the match they kind of did promote a bit was Wheeler Yuta against Josh Woods for the Pure title. And we heard your idea there, Josh, but do you see Josh Woods maybe sticking around a part of this like AEW or ROH version of NXT for AEW?
Yeah, I mean, he's been on Dark for
he's been on Dark ever since ROH closed.
And I think, even though I don't think he's as good as Garcia or Yuta or Lee Moriarty, I do think he has really big upside just because of his size and his look. If you get him in there and you just tell him, hey, just go do what you can do as far as like a former MMA guy, I think it's even better. So I would sign him. I think he has enough upside to where if he gets hot, it would be something. So.
Yeah, I've only seen a handful of Josh Woods matches, but he seems like the perfect Pure champion stylistic matchup, and this matchup with Wheeler Yuta will be, I think, maybe one of the better ones on the show. We know the tag title match, that's a dream match that Ring of Honor actually is getting to deliver, and as Chase said, if they sign with Discovery, there's no Briscoes, but that'll be a very different look. But I mean, the Briscoes, do they end up moving to stay with GCW or go to do this Impact stuff? Because Impact's, advertising them for that show that will be on that show same time as this ROH show. And it would be an interesting investment for Impact with the feud they're doing with ROH kind of invading.
Yeah, because they need more like real ROH guys, not
the only one they signed was PCO, right?
Yes,
like the only one they actually signed. Everyone else is just per day.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be an interesting show. I think the vision of how it goes will tell us really a lot of what's going to come in the future. This is a question for you, Chase, because I know you keep up with this. How are the ticket sales been for this show?
WrestleTix put out a tweet earlier, and it was like 16,669 out of 1889 capacity.
Like 200-300 were left. Yeah.
But again, like that building, AEW had 6,000 in it, and New Japan had about 3,000 in it. It's less, but it's all right.
I mean, what is it set up for?
Yeah. Plus, I mean, this is an event outside of Dallas during Mania weekend, so that may have a factor in people coming to check it out. But I think it's the one show a lot of people, it's the one must-have show for a lot of people on this show. And then this brings me up to my next question. I know we kind of talked about it in, a group chat, but AEW, like, this is kind of their version of them being involved in Mania weekend. By next year, do you think AEW puts on shows during WrestleMania weekend?
No,
because Tony Khan won't do it. So I think you should. I think you do it as not as, hey, we're running WrestleMania weekend. I think you run it as, hey, we're going to where the fans are, and we're going to let, international fans that haven't been able to see Ring of Honor or AEW live be able to see it. Because I think that would just be, I think you would get an environment similar to how Raw after WrestleMania used to be, just a completely crazy, separate animal than anything, even, I know a lot of people have said, well, with All Out and with Double or Nothing, you get a lot of fly-ins, but you're getting a lot of, like, North American fly-ins. You're not getting a lot of international fly-ins. And if you go to WrestleMania weekend, you're going to get a lot more of international fly-ins. And I think it would just be a crazy environment. So I would like to see it. I don't think we will, but I would like to see it.
I personally think on top of AEW shouldn't run those weekends. I don't think New Japan should be running those weekends either. I think they should just leave that to WWE, and they should try to do their own thing together, whether it's at All Out or Double or Nothing, or if they just go do something in July 4th somewhere. But it's I think they like their own environment they're building up. Like All Out, All In had a lot of international fly-ins. You weren't there for that one, Josh, but I was. It was crazy the amount of people that were there from all over. But All Out didn't really have that because it was all Chicago and more American people. And Revolution weekend seemed like it was a lot better organized than All Out weekend was, because All Out, the fan fest thing to try to do was a shit show, to put it nicely. But in Florida,
it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible. It was just
would you call it good?
I wouldn't call it good, but I wouldn't call it horrible either. I would say it was just disorganized.
But for Revolution, they ran it out of arena, not some fucking hotel convention center. I think they're realizing their pay-per-view weekends are becoming big events because they only do 4 a year, and when you make them special, they become special to your audience. But to me, if you just go onto WWE, you're baking off of their thing and their specialness and not really creating your own, which is what AEW should be trying to do instead of having anything to do with WWE besides the occasional barb.
But if you're New Japan, do you next year, since it's still in, do you do a show?
Well, to me, it's not really New Japan proper doing it. It's New Japan Strong, which I don't.
Well, that's what I mean, though.
It's not the same thing, though.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I think for me, I'd like to see AEW there in some capacity. I don't understand why they don't want to do it. I understand they want to make their own thing and make it special, and they have those special weekends, especially the one coming up at the end of May. But I'd like to see them there. I'd like to see what they could do to maybe draw a track, bring in other people, because they have the legs to stand on to put on an event, as opposed to like when WWE ran WrestleMania 24 in Orlando and TNA was like, we're putting on a show at our home base. And
that was
that
was a shit show.
That was a disaster. That was a disaster where they got a man fired from his job by putting him on camera when they weren't supposed to. I don't think AEW would do anything like that.
The live one, they tried to stuff with fans that they knew would act the way they wanted it to act. And then people got mad and didn't show up the other 2 nights. So yeah, that was.
I just figure it's a big weekend. It is a wrestling business. There's tons of talent out there to sign, to scout for Tony Khan and them, and put on one event like a Dynamite or something. Not saying obviously a special event or anything. Put on a Dynamite or a Rampage or whatever, and see what you can do to filter in and be a part of this madness, because there's tons of talent out there that you should be able to get out there and look for.
I agree with that. So But
I know Chase doesn't. Chase definitely does
I know.
not. Chase wants
Yes,
AEW to be
he's-
on his
he's
own legs of all
But I
by
will say this.
itself.
I will say this. They should only do it if they can get a big enough arena to do it. That would be my one caveat. They need to be able to get like an actual arena if they're going to do that. And they should run like a Dynamite and just be like, hey, we're running Dynamite here, and it just happens to be,
Again, that's the problem with trying to
Yes,
follow. And after WWE is they've already booked all the good buildings.
or they've told the city no one can book the other good buildings in the area. So yes, I know. I'm just saying that would be my caveat. So
The other big events going on, as we kind of alluded to, was the GCW shows going on. I know we have a Joey Janela spring break again. There's a proper blood sport in front of fans that'll be happening, which I'm very excited for. The For the Culture shows that GCW do are really good. If there's a GCW show that you feel like you need to see, what is one you need to look out for? And does GCW need to stick the landing a little bit? They had all that hype in January for the Hammerstein Ballroom show, and you feel like they missed their mark. And this is, I guess, a chance at redemption, even though the product's still, growing and, important enough in the wrestling fans' eyes, but doesn't maybe have the same momentum going into this weekend as it did back in January when they did the Hammerstein show.
I would say that they more than need to stick it. I would also say that I think some of the cards that they have, like, to me, if you're just looking for a good card to watch, the best card is probably the Lucha card, the Lucha World card. And the other thing I find really weird is, for the first time for a WrestleMania weekend, they're actually doing a deathmatch show, and yet the two best death matches they were putting on are not on that show. One's on the Lucha show. The other one will be on Spring Break Night 1, I think. So I find that a little weird, but I'm not real hyped for the Culture show, even though I love the idea of that show. I'm not hyped for that show at all. I think this is probably the weakest card of those shows. Also, I don't understand why you brought in AC Mack to do commentary and not have a match. That is a major fail for me, especially for the Culture show. But I am looking forward to I'm looking forward to certain matches on the two Spring Break shows. I'm never a fan of the clusterfuck. I think the clusterfuck is just an overbooked nonsense most of the time. And I get bored watching it because it just goes on and on and on. But the Gray and Moxley match should be, I would think, pretty good. I'm curious to see what they do with Dickinson and Cardona. I think that could be really good if it doesn't get overbooked to hell and back.
It will.
It probably will. I mean, I imagine it will, and I imagine Missy Hyatt's going to be part of that match. And I'm imagining that there's some Missy Hyatt angle that probably 10 people watching the show will be aware of, that they'll try to like redo, and those 10 people will get it and no one else will, and be like, what just happened? But yeah, I do think they need to stick it a little bit. But I am not buying the package this year because I couldn't bring myself to do it. I didn't think there was enough that I wanted to watch on the shows. But I like that they do the shows. I like that the shows are, for the most part, different. But yeah, I do think that they need to kind of deliver this weekend, because the Hammerstein show, while it had some good stuff on it, it didn't live up to the hype for sure. So there we go.
Yeah, I think the night 2 of Joey Janela's Spring Break will be, I think, the one I would be the one most interested in checking out. I kind of like the environment that they set those shows up for starting super late. I know Chase went to the one in New Orleans. A couple years. Yeah, that was with Janela and the Great Sasuke.
By now I've been to a bunch of wrestling shows. There's never one where my experience live was so much better than rewatching it back on tape. With the exception of PCO versus Walter, that match was still fucking incredible. But like being at Spring Break Live is just nuts. Like the crowd is just nuts. Like the crowd makes that show. like what's going on in the ring doesn't really matter too much because
it's a party.
Like,
it's a party.
The
it's a bunch
crowd
of drunk and
the
high
reactions.
people having fun.
And the hilarious thing was like because I went to the WWN Mercury Rising right before it, and there was only like 600-700 people there, and then they make us go out, and then we come like they make us go out, and we see this massive line for spring break, and like the crowd size doubled, and it was just nuts. And it really, if you were there this weekend, I could not recommend a show more to go to than Joey Janela's Spring Break. Now, watching it, I don't know. Might be good, might be bad. But being there, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I think the environment got to be really fun, especially the night two, which starts at 11:59 Eastern time. So, like, you're pretty much staying up all night to watch a clusterfuck. You know, the Matt Cardona Chris Dickinson match. There's another match on there as well. But I think as well the first night that GCW will have with that spring break show, like as we said, Moxley versus AJ Gray will be really good. I think Janela and Sean Waltman's going to be one to really keep our eyes on, especially like what Waltman's just gone through and losing his best friend with Scott Hall and the buildup of that. I think that's going to be a real emotional and important match. And can we also talk about this scramble match? It's just going to be insane with Nick Wayne, Jack Cartwheel, Gringo Loco, Jordan Oliver, Ninja Mac, and Alec Price. Like, that's just take my money on that one. That one's just.
Where's that Dante Leon guy? He's like in
there.
every one. It's the same lineup every time they do that match. Like it's the same guys every time.
I thought
is anybody going to bring this up?
Didn't Dante Leon like hurt his leg? He's probably why he's not in this match.
Probably with the shit they do in these things. But it's like the same dudes every time.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's like the same man. I'm not complete. It's like Stunt Show Express every time, unless you're Jordan Oliver and you just suck. But
let us know you feel
like it's the same guys every time. Right. And it's like, why are they doing this? What's the goal here?
Which kind of sucks because, like,
it's like
West
they don't
because like West Coast Pro just did Nick Wayne versus Mike Bailey. That match was fucking awesome, like you would expect it to be. But it's like these guys can do their own. It's not like they're hiding them. So I don't know. I don't know why they do this, other than they feel like they need this crazy wild stunt show, which is exactly what this will be. So, but
it's like the same match
every time, right?
Well,
sometimes it has ladders.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a problem. Somebody's gonna die.
It's these young guys trying to take it to the next level,
yes.
But
yes.
I get it. I mean, this is really the biggest show for the first night of this weekend, which kicks off tomorrow. So I expect everyone to bring their A game. I mean, Mickey James alley catch as well is going to be interesting. And I think the Bloodsport
That's
show,
a nice word. That's a very nice word to say, Juice.
I'm just going to say that. It's going to be interesting and how they position that match. But, as well, Bloodsport at 4 p.m. Right. Bloodsport's like one of my favorite events and how they've done them. They're a little weird. They look cool with the Mortal Kombat style without the fans during the pandemic. I think there's been a few they've had fans since, I guess, the end of last year. But, Minoru Suzuki, Chris Dickinson should be really good. Josh Barnett, Jonah. Moxley's always a killer on these shows. And I think as well, if you're following AEW, seeing Marina Sharif versus Zeta Zhang, I think that one's going to be really good. I don't know. Are you guys planning on checking out the Bloodsport shows?
Oh yes, I've seen every single one of them. I will say this: the one that they did that was like the more cinematic, like the one where it was that one. I wish they could like do more like that because that was like really awesome. Even though it was just kind of more of like there was only 2 of them, but I'm looking forward to this because there's probably going to be a lot of fans here. They'll be hot. I love these shows just because they're different. The ones that I'm kind of like more interested in just to see how it works is like Ninja Mac versus Yoa. I think that'll be like crazy. Yeah. And I don't even know what to expect. But yeah. I always love these matches. And I think they do a good job of like getting people that you don't even think would be good at them and then they wind up being good. So, yeah,
Well,
this is always
looking
one
at-
that like I have to watch it.
Looking at the card, seeing Timothy Thatcher and JR Kratos, that one should be just two dudes smacking the shit out of each other. I saw Timothy Thatcher and Walter have a shoot style match at a WXW show back in Toronto in 2019. So, and Timothy Thatcher in that environment just thrives. So that's going to be one.
Yes,
to
that's
sure
the thing.
circle your calendar.
Like if you don't like Timothy Thatcher, this is like he was born for this like thing. This is what he should be, and like he'll probably be awesome in this. So yeah.
Before go Chase.
I really think Bip Music is going to have something to prove against Moxley, and I would not be shocked if that's the best match on this show.
Oh, that wouldn't shock me at all.
Before we transition here, I know you guys aren't that excited about WrestleMania, and for valid reasons, but we'll get into that more here. There's always someone that comes out of this weekend that kind of has like a breakthrough performance, like, you know, Walter and PCO. PCO got a whole career renaissance from that match, out of that match. Someone always shines through this weekend on the indies. Who do you see shining through this weekend that, you know, we see on either a WWE product, an AEW product, this Ring of Honor, or these big mainstream shows out of this weekend?
It's been 6 years since Keith Lee did this in Dallas. He was on the ROH pre-show, just blowing people's minds.
Yep. I'm looking here real quick. I
know there's a lot of talent, so take your time.
The problem is that like
there's no one that like I have never. It's like it's not a lot of new talent, I think, is the thing. Maybe it's probably one of the lucha guys that like people just haven't seen before, I would think.
Yeah, from the AAA show or the Gringo Loco show, or that's gonna happen.
Like it would have to be someone that we just have no idea, because nowadays it's like with Twitter clips, it's like I knew who Higel Del Vikingo was before I even saw him his match, because freaking Lucha Blog posted a freaking clip of him doing insane shit. Like I don't know how anybody can be surprising anymore, other than their first match. Like I really feel Marco Stunt might have been the last one, period, which is what, 4 years ago now, when he just surprise debuted in GCW because they plucked him out of Mississippi Indies.
Yep, that's true. Unless there's like somebody in the clusterfuck that just like
it's gonna be Sean Ross Sapp.
There you go.
Putting it down. Put my $5 down. It's gonna be Sean Ross Sapp.
Sean Ross Sapp gonna clean house and charge you for it. Fightful Select. But yeah, there's so much talent, right? And someone, I feel like even if you've seen them enough, like this is the weekend, especially with more fans, more shows, more eyes on these shows due to the accessibility of them. Like someone's going to step their game up to get signed.
You know what?
Right?
You know who I bet it is, even though it shouldn't be, but I bet Mike Bailey is the guy that...
He's already signed by Impact.
I know, but I'm just saying, but I bet he's the guy that people will be like, hey, why have, like, what the hell is this? Because I'm sure that there's a lot of people that maybe have seen like one or two matches, but haven't seen a bunch of his matches, and are going to be kind of like blown away. I can see him just going over these cards.
I said I expect him versus Bandito to be the best match of this weekend, if they get the time.
They'll get the time. It's on freaking.
He's also wrestling Alex Shelley. That was the guy. He's wrestling Alex Shelley on the Impact show, and that should be excellent.
Yes, that should be really good. So
that should be. So that's your pick. Chase, do you have a pick on who's gonna be a breakthrough guy?
I would be able to answer this on Tuesday, because the thing about these dudes is you never see them coming, and to act like I can see the future. No, like when I bought tickets to the freaking Joey Janela show in New Orleans, I was like, wait, Walter's facing one of the Quebecers? What? And then it happened, and I was like, oh my god. Walter faced one of the Quebecers.
Now, I would say this, if AC Mack was actually having matches, if he's going to be there and he was actually having like multiple matches this weekend, I think he would be the one, even though if people are paying attention, they should know better. But, you know, people don't do that. So I would say him, especially if he got some mic time.
I mean, Nick Wayne is 16. He's already signed to AEW.
Yes, I know. I'm just
like
saying.
It's like who's gonna do this now? Like, come on, it's like We're signing 16-year-olds now. It's like
we're signing, future talent out of the womb, basically now.
Yes.
Like if you're the son of someone, we've already got your name locked up going forward. A guy that I think Speedball Mike Bailey, as Josh said, that could be a guy, even though he is with Impact. Just looking at some of these cards, like I think Kevin Blackwood's having a nice little run on the indie seat, part of the Buffalo Brothers with Danny Garcia, Kevin, I forget his last name, and I hate myself for that, and Puff, Kevin Bennett as well, part of the Buffalo Brothers. Kevin Blackwood, who is a guy I think as well that's getting some good opportunities to really shine all through the indies now, and he's going to be on like the Black Label Pro shows and what have you. He's someone, and I don't know, does Ninja Mac do something even more insane? Because he seems to be a guy that just raises his stock each and every GCW show, and I feel like he has to be someone we talk about at the end of this weekend.
As long as he doesn't try to kill himself again.
it's
That was not.
it's
like-
the first. It's the first Mania weekend with fans in forever.
Yes. So you never know. He might try to do something like, I don't know. It'll be, I figure he hits the superhero like landing at least twice during this weekend, just because there'll be a lot of fans there. But yeah, I could see him, but I think people know about him enough where I don't think he would be that guy. So, but we'll see.
We will see. As we said, there are so many shows, so much talent around independent wrestling this weekend in Dallas, Texas. And then that winds us here to the reason all these promotions have these shows. It's WrestleMania itself. And a weird, I guess, look. Yeah, the most stupendous WrestleMania of all time. With an NXT show on the Saturday at 1 o'clock, Saturday afternoon. There's a Hall of Fame the Friday night. I'm surprised we got a full class out of this. And then, a WrestleMania where one night's going to be main evented by a talking segment, though it's with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kevin Owens. I'm excited for that. But, overall, as we've talked about, match quality, maybe not the greatest thing on these shows. First of all, for the love of God, can we stop 2-night WrestleManias after this one? Like, I understood why we did it this year.
It's not going to happen.
I hope. Can we just do it? I know it does give a breather from 7-hour shows, but we don't need it. It just hurts the brand of it. I don't know. I know our interest really isn't that great into Mania, but like
it's going to be the same thing as why 3-hour Raws are still here. Is they get the money for that extra hour. Granted, if they just did one show and sold 93,000, whatever the fuck it was when they were there in Dallas and did all those merch sales they did, it probably would cover it. It's just to them, they think, 110,000 tickets sounds better to them. Yes, it's technically more, but it's like you would do better with one show.
I'm curious what the merch sales for Mania will be, because what do you figure? You figure 60% of the people going are going both nights. So, you're not getting that much. I don't think the merch sales are going to be really that.
Is there stuff even good anymore? Like that needle mover shirt was terrible.
I went to a house show this past weekend. There is a KO Mania 6 show, 6 shirt, which they do have with Austin on it, like the WrestleMania 6 poster with Kevin Owens on one side and Austin on the other, like the Mega Powers or the Ultimate Challenge kind of look. So that shirt was available. Didn't buy it because I'm not wasting my time in those lineups. But it did look cool. It's a cool looking shirt. That's the only shirt I could see someone buying. But yeah, unless you're buying like, hey, WrestleMania 38 merch to say you were there or whatever. But
they're not going to say 38 on it. It's just WrestleMania. Numbers are too high.
Stupendous WrestleMania, the most stupendous. A shirt with stupendous on it. That's what you're getting.
And see, everyone was complaining about the 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom. Little did we know, because everyone was like, you could put this on one night, it would be fine. I don't even know if you could get a fine show if you put these 2 shows together. I think there's just not much.
I think you could, but I don't know.
You're not confident. They're not competent.
Because the only benefit this 2-night show has is the show isn't 8 hours long, and you're just burnt out by the second hour.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be 8 hours long. It should only be 3.5,
4.
Hey, you tell that to Vince. You tell that to Vince. He's gonna put 18 celebrities on here now.
They didn't used to put the whole freaking roster on the show. Like, you used to have to earn your Lance Storm was never on a WrestleMania, right?
No,
the only thing he got. Yeah. It's like, come on. It's like now freaking Happy Corbin's laughing and around with fucking fucking
Corbin.
Beach.
Yeah.
Oh God. But it's like they don't like that quote from Nick Khan today irked me. It was like, anybody can make it to the top. It's like, no, they can't. Not in an environment where you have everyone at the same level with the exception of 2 people. It's like everyone's a bottom feeder unless your name's Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar.
Technically, it's 3.
Who's the third one?
Ronda would be the third one.
Ronda's burying herself with her suck ass promos.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah,
I'm saying, but you know,
well, if you look at these two nights, so night 1, which features Kevin Owens and Austin in the main event of this talking segment. I know Austin being on the show is a big deal. Apparently, it's supposed to be, a mini version of a match, but not a full match. It's going to be a cool segment, but that is your main event of a WrestleMania. Any interest in this segment?
No. I mean, why not?
Does Owens get out of this segment without looking silly?
No. Yes.
No.
Without looking silly? No. He's going to get stunned, and he's going to oversell it, and he's going to, live his dream. But it's going to look stupid because it's going to be like, what's the purpose of this? Right?
I mean, it's just, we saw this 6 years ago with the League of Nations where he just stunned. He stunned all the New Day in the ring too, and it's just like you're just having this 50-year-old guy come off of his 4x4 down to the AT&T Stadium, stun a guy that's actually there every week, and then he's going to go away. It's like, what is this accomplishing? Other than you got your building almost, you sold 20,000 more tickets. Okay, whoop-de-doo.
There's got to be a way, though, with Owens where they somehow make it him not look as silly. Because we know that's the end goal. He's going to get stunned. There's going to be a beer bash. And then we're going to go off the air happy seeing Austin. But, this guy just re-signed with your company when I'm sure he could have left and gone to AEW.
For $3 million a year. For $3 million a year.
For $3 million a year, as you said there, Chase. This is a guy that you won in the free agency market back. You can't just treat him like, Happy Corbin. You got to make him feel a little elevated. They got to make him feel a little special. Seeing him at this house show, granted it was in Canada, he was like a rock star, like Bret Hart levels over.
I mean, they got fucking Seth Rollins walking around like he's a villain from Batman 66. Just going, it's like, what the fuck what is this? I tried watching Raw last week, and it's just like the commentary is grating.
I can't make it for 5 minutes.
The commentary is grating. The camera cuts will give you motion sickness. They don't even let matches get started before somebody interrupts it with a fucking microphone. It's just like, what are they doing? Has he this dude used to be able to book competent wrestling. It's like, I know he's 76, but still, it's like he just has lost the thread so bad ever since Pat got Alzheimer's.
Well, Chase, you also mentioned Seth Rollins, who is having a match on this show after weeks of crazy booking where he couldn't get on the show. He went through all these hoops, and then they did a segment on Twitter, pretty much on social media. Why don't you just ask Vince for a match? And he will have an opponent that he will find out literally in the ring. So, we probably know.
And Shane McMahon is in town.
Yeah, if it is Shane McMahon, can you imagine the disappointment? That would be one of the worst moments in the history of this company, where
the fact that we can't even joke about it.
They have dangled the carrot of Cody Rhodes for 3 weeks on Raw, which has bumped their ratings up. And it's like for Mania, and here comes the money. Disappointment will be it'll just kill the buzz of what's going on for this show.
The fact that we can't even joke about it and be like, it could happen is sad within itself. But
is Shane on the show just so he can get fired again? Shane, the Rumble was terrible. Get out. Shane, Mania was terrible. You're fired again.
I mean,
right.
I mean, from what he read, from what you could infer from what happened there, he acted like a total jackass. But at the end of the day, he's not the booker. It's still that old skeleton-looking motherfucker who probably shouldn't be doing squats at 76. But it's like. That like this is the worst I can ever remember this product being, and
it is very stale. There is not a lot to get interested in, and as well, this is the biggest WrestleMania I've seen with the most amount of celebrities in matches, taking away from legit talent that are on this roster 365 days a year.
We have 3 of them, right? Like 3.
Yes, there's 3. Yeah.
So we got Logan Paul, Johnny Knoxville. Who else is on this?
Pat
McAfee. Yeah. So that's 3.
Does he count, or is he considered a WWE guy?
Do you see how much money he makes a year from podcasting, Josh?
Yes, I know.
I count him as a celebrity because he just does commentary and does the air guitar with Shinsuke Nakamura every Friday.
I mean, at some point, someone's going to do the math and figure out how much Paige Van Zandt makes on her website, and it's going to probably completely blow people's minds. So.
Oh, I've seen her house.
Well, she's Paige is loving life. I mean,
yes,
biggest paycheck probably in all of BKFC, and just signed with AEW, and that was the reason why, because she can do both and do everything, and there's no pressure for her. But she did have talks with WWE. But yeah, like 3 celebrities, and then as well on night 1, like
and
Ronda Rousey
excited about any of them.
Nobody's excited about any of them. I think Logan Paul will be surprisingly good in the ring. Like, he's really giving it a try. But I don't think the problem is we had an amazing celebrity last year that blew the roof off that in the musician there in Bad Bunny. Yeah.
I can't even remember his name.
I cannot.
We're not the demo. We're not the demo for him.
No.
Remember that.
We're not. No, but I mean, great music, and he killed it in the match there.
Don't lie.
But yeah, like Logan Paul, Knoxville will be good because in a way because he can just take.
If he doesn't die.
Yeah. Did you see Jackass Forever? I thought he died in the movie. So
I mean, he like dressed in the Rumble. He like dressed like fucking Andy Kaufman, and then he fucking just blisters AJ Styles with an elbow, and it's like, okay, all right, if you're just gonna potato people, okay, I guess.
The other thing for me on this show is like Ronda coming back at the Rumble was like a big deal, and I cannot get into Ronda at all. Like literally, her attitude on television is just like, "Give me the money." Like that's all it is. Like she's not to the levels of what I thought she could be for this company.
How wacky is it that we're going through all this crap, and Sasha Banks is in a tag match that no one's going to care about?
Oh, it's brutal. Like she was in the main event of one night, a great moment, and now they're like, "Here's a tag match." For tag titles that no one cares about.
They're probably going to lose her because of all the acting opportunities.
No, she just... that way. That was like, she just resigned.
She's got too many acting options, but go ahead.
But going back to Ronda, the only good promo she ever cut was that one where she was face-to-face with Becky Lynch in the ring, and you could feel like when she was talking about, you're not even deserving of walking the same ground I'm on, blah, 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 like, being actually Ronda and not this fucking stupid verbiage that they have everyone say. But Ronda Rousey's one of the worst actresses that's ever attempted to pretend to not be themselves. So she can't pull it off whatsoever. And it's like she's not smart enough to not do the scripts they hand her, and they're not smart enough to realize the scripts they hand her are awful. And then Charlotte's promos have gotten worse too. Like it's just like
Charlotte is completely regressed. Charlotte is completely regressed.
And it's like, ugh.
Also, why have both title matches on the same night? Like, wouldn't you want to space those title matches out? You would think You would think there's some fluff you can move around.
You would put them on the semi-main events of the show, and it would be fine. But yeah, I don't know. There's nothing on this card that makes me go, I even kind of want to watch this. Like even Roman and Brock, because I feel like we've seen Roman and Brock.
This is the 8th time it's been on a pay-per-view.
You know,
8.
So it's like,
and how many WrestleManias is this now? 2, 3. This is the third Mania.
The third,
yeah.
Right.
The thing
it feels like 5. It feels like 5, and it's like, who wants to see this again?
The funniest thing about me is that to this whole Roman thing to me is like back in 2015, if they had just let that match happen as they originally planned it, Roman Reigns would have been cheered because that match was so fucking awesome. He was getting over with the crowd. And then they did that shit they did at the end. And then, like, every single time they would just cut his legs off and cut his legs off and cut his legs off. It's like, I have never seen someone so horribly mismanaged until he turned heel. Like, it is. And they were trying. Like, they were full scale trying to get this dude over. And it's just like, my God. This man had Hogan. Now look what he's doing.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, much. I mean, but he's NWO like Hogan and interesting at least. And Brock, to his credit, is very entertaining when you let him do whatever he wants on the mic and be an interesting. That's the only thing. But as we've touched on, this is the 3rd match, and as Chase said, the 8th pay-per-view match these guys have had. Like, nothing feels special about any of this card. Yet it's going to do record business.
It's like they had Seth beat Brock at WrestleMania. They had Drew McIntyre beat Brock at like it's like beat Brock means nothing. It just comes back and gets the belt back. It's like
right. Then what happens when Brock leaves? Like this next time, what happens when he like goes, "I'm gone. I'm going to go hunting for a while."
They're only going to have 1 star instead of 2.
Yeah,
Veer Mahan, baby. Veer Mahan. Veer is finally gonna take over the ring.
Does anyone have any hope? Have any confidence that they're going to do anything? Like, how long before they screw up Cody? Who wants to take bets
immediately?
Oh, they're already have. He didn't even sign right away. What do you mean? This guy was like literally rumored to be free and pretty much come right in, and then they didn't even sign the contract. He literally messed this up from the beginning. He almost went back to AEW. Like, that's how bad it was. So I have no faith that this thing with Seth Rollins, even if it is Seth Rollins, because they could swerve us with here's Shane O'Mac. Like, they could literally do that. I have no faith.
We gotta work the fans, brother.
Yeah, I gotta work them. I have no faith that Cody will be done well, even though he was told that. But hey, you know what, Cody? At least you make bank on your run here. That's at least the positive.
That's a positive until they say, "Hey, we got a new outfit for you," and it's the polka dots. And then he's like, "What the fuck did I do?"
I really think he should come out in the polka dots. He should just do it. Just come on. just admit you're doing what your dad did. Just admit it.
to come back to AEW in 2 years.
Like you fucked up your own booking, so you just gotta go. You just gotta go do something even worse for a little bit to make people forget how bad you fucked up in the other place, and then you can come back refreshed.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is I'm really scared. This is the other thing with Cody is that the bad parts of Cody are going to get amplified in WWE because they're like, "Oh, this is good," and everyone else will be like, "It's bad. What are you doing? Don't let him do this."
Which bad parts are you talking about? The nationalism or the equating the birth of his mixed race daughter to the "I Have a Dream" speech?
I would say all of it. All of it is a beautiful circle. And then also let's have matches that go too long. Like wait until him and Edge have a match together.
Oh no.
45-minute time limit. 45 minutes.
Like 25 minutes. You're not going longer than 25 minutes. Yeah, like, that's going to happen. The overbooking is going to happen. I can't bleed anymore, so I don't know what he's going to do about that. So, but yeah, I just have really bad feelings about it.
Well, if he follows the legit pathway that his father did in this company coming back, so he's gonna be feuding with King Corbin and for like towards the end of this before he gets back
Corbin
on
now. Juice.
Okay, happy.
He's
my bad.
Undefeated, and he's undefeated.
Yeah, and the end of days has never been kicked out of.
Yes.
So he'll be feuding with that. Come on, and then he'll be back in AEW with Jim Ross. It's great to be back in AEW, baby. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that was his father. But as well on this, like, I don't know, this show is just wild to me. The NXT show, I think, is, other than being an afternoon show, I'm kind of interested in the NXT show, especially that the Steiners are going to the Hall of Fame the previous night.
The who?
The Steiners.
The Steiners.
Who's
well,
that?
they can. They are the Steiner brothers, but their son is long lost translation down the timeline there, Mr. Braun. Brawny. Yes, Braun Breaker.
What does Braun Breaker have to do with the Steiners?
Well, you maybe
no. They've acknowledged that.
They've acknowledged
it. They've acknowledged it.
Wait, they've acknowledged it now, and he still has that fucking stupid name.
Yes. They've acknowledged it like forever.
His first name down there was Rex Steiner. That's a better name than Braun Breaker.
Okay, that is a better name. Let's be real. I don't know why they didn't do that. But yeah, this NXT show as well, like being a 1:00 start, not the greatest, but
and before WrestleMania night 1.
Exactly. I mean, this show last year did produce that Dragunov Walter match.
Okay, that was not this show. Let's be honest. That was a different NXT. That was not this.
True.
That was true. That was pre a series of unfortunate events starring Paul Levesque.
Yeah, poor Paul. But I don't know. Is there anything you're interested in the NXT show? Because I think the 2.0 product has found its feet. It's not maybe the greatest thing. There is some good stuff. There's some awful stuff on NXT 2.0. But you know, there's talent on that product, I will say.
It's the talent on that product are all the freaking ex-indie wrestlers and the diamond in the rough Braun Breaker, who just seems like the most natural at this since, I don't know, Kurt Angle. Like, it's ridiculous how good he is with the few amount of matches he's had, but not all of those second. Like, who's the only other second gen person they got down there? I know they got the Rock's daughter, who they haven't even put in front of a camera. Who else?
I can't remember second gen.
Second gen? I can't think of anybody.
I can't think of second gens. They got
Dominic is on the main roster.
Poor Dominic.
Yeah, poor Dominic. God.
But I just had to say, I saw Ray and Dominic wrestle, and it was like, if you got your hand slapped by Dominic, it was like getting Booster for Christmas instead of a Turbo Man. It was that disappointing for the fan base. Like, oh, sorry, Dominic, I don't really want to touch your hand yet.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, they got some Samoans. We have to have a ladder match on these NXT shows, so we'll have that.
At least it's not the women having the ladder match.
Oh God.
True.
It's like, but yeah.
I mean, we got Dolph in the main event against Mr. Braun Breaker.
You know,
I think they've had chemistry.
The saddest thing to me about the state of WWE is that in about 2 years, their TV money is just going to exponentially increase again, even though their product is so bad. It's so bad. They're just going to get more money. So they think they're doing great because we got more money. So we're doing fine.
Well, that's the.
I do think at some. I do think at some point, I think that somebody's going to go fuck this, and they're going to be left with. I think you're going to have the exact same thing that happened when they went to TNT or TNN. Yeah, TNN or Spike. Yeah. When that happened, where I think eventually someone's going to go, why are we paying this much money for this? And we can pay it for something else. And I think that's. But
it's not going to be NBC. Crap. They're giving them $600 million a year.
I'm aware they should buy them.
Well, plus like Apple and Amazon are getting into the streaming market now for sports, and you know WWE is going to be one of those trying to see how those Major League Baseball games work out, where it's like, we're going to sell you SmackDown or we're going to sell you Raw for a specific streaming right, and they'll pay it.
People think it's just like in the bag that Peacock's going to get the next day air rights from Hulu for those shows when that contract expires. Like, when is that? A couple month or two from now?
Yeah.
Like, I think, knowing Nick Khan, he is not just going to go with Peacock. He's going to shop that shit around. He probably already is.
Probably is. He's definitely looking for the best value for.
Imagine how much money that dude could make them if their product was actually good.
But those places don't care what the product is.
I know. They just want content. They just want content.
They just want content. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And they're giving them content. So,
well, they are giving them content. There's a lot of content this weekend, guys. I know we could talk.
Yes.
We've just gone over an hour. I thank you for spending an hour with me, Chase, Josh. Thanks for the time. If you want to subscribe to Josh, obviously you know his channel. That's Truthslayer. And if you want to subscribe to Chase,
I don't do YouTube videos.
He doesn't do videos. if you wanted to, just to be a nice person. As well.
Although I didn't delete them all. They're still there. You can go back there. I'm not like a pussy like Jim.
Oh, so they're still up there. So like
everything's still there.
The $5 one's still there.
Everything's still there.
That's the best video you ever did. Was the
Everything's
$5
still there.
Well,
you can still buy that shit too. IVP's still there too.
I know.
Well, guys, pleasure chatting with you. Kind of running down this weekend and how exciting it is going to be. Hopefully, we can catch up after the fact and see who broke out and if you guys even get a wink of seeing WrestleMania. But from the tone of it, you probably won't see any WrestleMania.
I'll see. I'm looking at like 36 hours of wrestling, and none of it is WWE. So
I think a lot of people are in that same boat as well. Not a lot of people are. There's not a lot of intrigue, but thanks for bringing us to Dallas World Wrestling Entertainment.
But yeah, Ring of Honor is probably the only show I'm going to watch in full, but there are definitely a fair amount of matches I want to pick and choose. Once that's easier to do, once the shows have happened.
And as well, there's the collective that you can purchase on Fight. I know IWP TV, they have matches, and this is a bank weekend as well for Fight. Can I just say that? Like, you get the collective, Ring of Honor, and like the Impact shows. Like, this is the busiest weekend of the year for Fight. They're gonna make a boatload of money this weekend.
The only profitable section of Triller.
Because if they had the ROW shows got canceled, so that's the only thing that.
Yeah.
But no, they were probably making a ton of money this weekend. So
huge weekend for them. Huge weekend for wrestling. I will literally wind this down now. For Chase, for Josh, for myself, thanks for watching. Peace out, and we'll see you all next time.
Later.